Greetings, and thank you for joining the International Human Trafficking Institute. My name is DeAndre Marshall, and I am the Director of Training and Programs for the Institute. January is recognized as Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and the International Human Trafficking Institute thanks you for joining us for the eye-opening experience into human trafficking. This is the third year that we have held this simulation. While we have pivoted, like most organizations and programs, to a virtual format, tonight we are confident that this simulation will give you an understanding of the potential dangers lurking for our children, our youth, and even our young adult. Almost daily in the news, there are reports on how children and youth are being harmed. This is why we want you to learn what the signs are so that if you see something, you will be able to say something, and even more so, you'll be able to do something. It's our vision as an organization that no child is exploited for either labor or sex. With this knowledge, we know that you will know how to protect your child or children within your influence, and even have conversations with your college student. So here to join us tonight are friends of IHTI. It is my pleasure to introduce to some and welcome for others, Chris Epps, Carlos Nixon, Karis Townsend, and Takoa Hash. They're joining us, and I'll tell you this, Batman had Robin, Charlie had his angels, and Chris has his crew. And so we're excited to welcome them to be with us at this time to bring greetings to you. They're phenomenal in their own right individually, but collectively, they are a force to be reckoned with. You can hear them on Atlanta's Hot R&B radio station, Hot 923 on iHeartRadio. We're excited once again to have them. So now, Chris and the crew, come in the room.
Greetings. This year, we joined the International Human Trafficking Institute to shed light on how children and youth are often lured into sexual exploitation. We hope you will learn something and see something during this presentation, which will prompt you to do something, whether parent, child, youth, or young adult. You can take action and help the International Human Trafficking Institute Traffic Proof Georgia. Karis, Takoa, Corliss, and I are passionate about this project because we are about community and raising awareness at large to our listeners. So I'm gonna throw it to you, Karis. Why are you passionate about this project?
Well, thank you, Chris. I am a very proud and protective auntie. And the innocents, the children, the youth of our communities have to be protected. And as I've been learning more and more about this subject, I'm realizing that these children are moved around from place to place. And in that process, I've been wondering if there have been children in need that I have witnessed, but because I don't know the signs and I don't know what to look for, or maybe because I just wasn't paying attention, then I failed them. And I think it's very important for us moving forward to understand this is a real challenge, not only just here in Georgia, but across the country. And we need to make sure that we're aware so we can help our youth in our communities. Takoa?
Well said, Karis. I couldn't agree more. We want every man, woman, girl, and boy to have the same opportunities in life to thrive. And it's up to us to make sure that we're bringing awareness to this issue. As we've learned, 80% of people that are lured into this lifestyle never recover and live up to their full potential. This is modern day slavery, and it must end. We've also learned about sugaring, a term I didn't know about. As a young girl in college, I glorified having a sugar daddy, not knowing the danger that it could bring to my life. We need to bring awareness about it. We need to stop glorifying it and make sure that we are protecting our youth and adults from going into modern day slavery. Corliss?
Thanks, Tekoa. So I'm passionate about human trafficking because what I found out is Atlanta is ranked as one of the top cities for human trafficking. The fact that I grew up here, it just really frightens me to know that I too could have been a victim of human trafficking. And so as I look at my large family and the need to help protect them, I've become involved in helping to identify and hopes to prevent another child from being a part of human trafficking. I have 2 grandsons that I love very dearly, and I can't imagine a child having to go through a situation like this. So I've made it my work to help prevent human trafficking. Chris.
Thank you so much, ladies, for sharing why you're passionate about this project. I am passionate about this project as well. As the creator and host of Chris Us Presents on Atlanta's Hot R&B station, Hot 92.3 on iHeartRadio, it is our duty to educate our listeners at large and make them aware of these issues that are not necessarily covered in day-to-day media. Our mantra here at Chris Us Presents is we entertain while we educate, and we educate while we entertain. So it is imperative to us that we could maintain our commitment to continue the conversation about raising awareness about human trafficking in traffic-proof Georgia. To learn that Atlanta has 2 universities that are in the top 10 of the nation for human trafficking is eye-opening within itself. And we are committed to learning everything that we need to know to prevent human trafficking moving forward. I throw it back to you, DeAndre.
Thanks so much, Chris and your crew. We appreciate you being in the room and telling us why you're passionate about this subject and joining us to talk about your passion. Before we move over into our simulations, we definitely want you to have the definition of human trafficking to see what this is, so that if you see something, you can say something. So stand by right now for a video of information.
What is human trafficking? Human trafficking is modern-day slavery. It is the exploitation of a person through force, fraud, or coercion. Human smuggling and human trafficking are different crimes. Human smuggling is the illegal movement of someone across a border. Human trafficking is the illegal exploitation of a person. Human trafficking is about exploitation, not transportation. Human trafficking is a highly profitable crime and a violation of human rights. It occurs in every part of the world, including here in the United States. It happens in our big cities, our suburbs, and even in rural towns. It can happen to anyone. Human trafficking victims can be U.S. citizens or from other countries. Victims can be any age, race, or gender. But one thing they share is that they are vulnerable to being exploited. There are different types of human trafficking, including sex trafficking, forced labor, and domestic servitude. Sex trafficking victims are manipulated or forced against their will to engage in sex acts for money. Sex traffickers might use violence, threats, manipulation, or the promise of love and affection to lure victims. Truck stops, hotel rooms, rest areas, street corners, clubs, private residences. These are just some of the places where victims are forced to sell sex. Any person under the age of 18 involved in a commercial sex act is considered a victim of human trafficking. No exceptions. Forced labor takes on many forms, and it happens here in the US and overseas. Through force, fraud, or coercion, victims are made to work for little or no pay. Very often, these victims are forced to manufacture or grow the products that we use and consume every day. Victims of forced labor could be found in factories, on farms, doing construction work, and more. Victims of domestic servitude are hidden in plain sight, forced to work in homes across the United States. Their traffickers sometimes take their identification papers and travel documents in order to limit their freedom. They are prisoners, working as nannies, maids, or domestic help. Every year in the United States, thousands of human trafficking cases are reported, but many more go unnoticed. That's because human trafficking is a hidden crime. Victims might be afraid to come forward, or we may not recognize the signs, even if it's happening right in front of us. We need to bring this crime out of the shadows. That's why the Department of Homeland Security created the Blue Campaign, to take a stand against modern-day slavery and help combat this heinous crime by raising awareness of human trafficking around the country.
And now that you know all forms of human trafficking, it's important. And if we were in one of my training sessions, I might give a little quiz right now. But since this is the simulations, we're going to move forward with our simulations and listen to some young people who have come to talk to us about the things that they didn't know about human trafficking and or sex trafficking. Let's take a listen.
I didn't know that my boyfriend wanted me to have sex with his friends.
I didn't know when I was communicating with that man online, I would need a safe place.
I didn't know that all the money and gifts he gave meant he wanted to have sex.
I didn't know boys could be victims too.
I didn't know how bad things could get when they closed down my college and I didn't have anywhere else to go.
I thought he cared for me.
I didn't know he would drag me across the country just to traffic me. I didn't know when he was asking me to become a model that he was trying to lure me into sex trafficking. I didn't know that I was at risk.
I didn't know that it could happen to me.
I didn't realize that I was at risk. I thought he cared about me. I didn't know he was isolating me from my friends. I didn't know how bad things could get when I ran away. I didn't know all the gifts and money he gave me meant he wanted sex. I didn't know young people could be abusers.
I didn't know it could happen to me.
So we've listened to our students tell us the things that they didn't know, which sometimes takes us as well as them down into a deep depression. Now we're going to venture over to our simulations, and we're going to listen in as some students are on the phone, general conversation with one another. And unfortunately, they do not know that one of their friends is actually a trafficker. Let's take a listen.
Hey Danielle, what's going on?
Nothing good. I'm so tired of these dead boys calling me asking me for nudes. Why do they think I'm a fall for that?
Girl, it's a shame. They ain't got no game at all, dude.
You crazy, but you're right. I wish I could find me a real man with a real job.
Well, you're not gonna find that hanging around these high school boys.
Danielle, I heard what you said. Are you serious about that?
About what?
About finding a real man.
For sure. After Rona, I'm gonna be ready to go to Papa Do's instead of Popeyes.
So, what if I told you that my man doesn't go to this lame high school, not even college. He's a businessman, a professional man with plenty of cash. You see this watch? We went to the Louis Vuitton shop at Lenox and bought it. He drives a Range Rover, honey, and I style and profile in the front seat. He even let me drive it.
Dude, that's what's up.
But hold up, y'all could be sitting pretty too.
What you mean by that, girl?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Well, you see, we have these parties, right? At these beautiful houses, and these rich men come up driving in these real nice cars.
So you're talking about going to a party in the middle of a pandemic?
Let her finish, Trees.
Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting down with rich men and walking away with a pocket full of cash.
Yeah, that's kind of disgusting.
Really, Trees? You'd rather go hang out with bugaboos than live like Kylie Jenner?
Girl, that's what I'm saying. Y'all need to think about it. Sex is just sex. I'd rather get paid than give it away to these high school boys, let alone for free. Let me know if you're interested. There's a party next weekend, and it's going to be off the hook. Anything you want, anything you can think of, they will have it there. But I gotta go. I'll see y'all later.
Are you freaking kidding me, Danielle? What would your mom say about this? You realize we're in the middle of a pandemic. You could get coronavirus, you could get drugs, you could get an STD. Dude, you don't know what's gonna happen to you. I mean, I knew Plachette was out here, but not to that extent.
What your mama don't know won't hurt her. And besides, look at Plachette. Nothing has happened to her. I'm so broke right now, and that money sounds good to me. I could use a fresh front lace.
Well, nothing has happened to her yet. That stuff is disgusting. I don't care how much money they have.
Don't hate on me when you see me smiling and profiling with my new stuff. I think I'm gonna get a new set of nails and maybe some expensive braids instead of a lace front. By the way, you had your chance. I'll holla.
Yeah, you'll be hollering all right.
So I guess tonight, I just want to remind you that this is a scenario, a simulation, but this is really happening in our schools and in our homes. And this is the warning to our parents that students are being trafficked in our middle schools and in our high schools. You see, the thing about a trafficker or a predator is that they know when kids have insecurities. They know and they see the kid who's not being invited to the popping parties. And so with that, they lean into those situations and they prey on those young people. The trafficker recruits students, and those students are the ones like Plachette, who was on the phone tonight. Let's take a listen now to another simulation with two other young ladies who are talking about what is now known as sugaring. And I'll come back in a second and talk a little bit more about sugaring. Let's take a listen.
Hey, do you think this is the right Zoom call?
I don't know.
What's wrong with you?
Well, some things just aren't so good right now.
Okay, what's wrong?
Well, my mom just called and I might have to come back home because of the pandemic. She hasn't gone back to work yet and money's getting pretty tight.
Dang, that really sucks.
Yeah, tell me about it. I was just getting the hang of, being on my own. I already have work study and I'm not sure that I can fit another job in there.
Ugh, I hate that for you. Have you heard of the website called Sugar Baby University?
No, what's that?
Where are you from? You haven't heard of Sugar Baby University?
Look, I'm not from Georgia, so excuse me if I don't know about all this local stuff.
All right, well, sugarbaby.com is part of Seeking Arrangement, which is like the world's largest website for money making when you're dating. Well, mostly being a piece of eye candy, but sometimes those silver foxes are looking for a hot night on the town. It's all about the Benjamins, and we get paid. Once you get a sugar mama, you'll be set.
Wait, so how do y'all get paid?
Now you're sounding interested. They're not hijacking anybody. They pay, sometimes in cash, checks, presents, and expensive meals, or even like vacations, shopping trips.
Wait, so y'all are just out here having sex with people and getting paid for it?
Don't judge me. I mean, I'm not the one with the money problems. I'm just trying to tell you this would solve your problems. Well, I think that it's safe to say we're on the wrong Zoom call, so I'm gonna go check my email and hopefully I can find the right one, but I'll see you later.
Hey, Leah, I just parked. What's up?
Hey, Raven girl, getting ready for school, just purchased all of my books, paying bills, and on top of that, I have to add health insurance, which is money. Yeah. What about you?
Girl, do I know the struggle? I got books to buy, gas to put in this car. I also got health insurance. All this stuff is expensive. It's adding up. But I got a part-time job that's helping me save, and I've been making thousands since I started. I could put you on. Okay, girl. So all you gotta do is just go out on these dates, and after these dates, you can do whatever you want to do. Nobody's gonna force you to do anything, but you get paid thousands just to go on these dates with these men. Ain't that good?
These men,
I can send you a photo of one if you want.
Send me one, please.
Okay. You see him?
Do you see him?
Yes, I do. And?
He don't look like somebody granddaddy to you.
Girl, who cares? I get paid so much just to spend hours with him. It don't matter.
So what about if you get a STD? Or what about revenge porn? Or what about sex trafficking that can lead to human trafficking? Because what you're doing is this new thing called being a sugar baby.
Sugar baby, sugar daddy, who cares? All I know is I get paid good money to spend, 2-3 hours with the guy, and I can do what I want. STDs? Girl, we use condoms, we wrap it up, and I don't know what you're talking about, this sex and human trafficking stuff. I chose to do this.
Okay, so what about when he uses his power and his influence to make you take the condom off? STDs right there. And did you know that human traffickers are using those same sites that sugar babies are on to lure women into sex trafficking?
Whoa, where are you hearing all this? I didn't know that.
Girl, it's on the news, in the newspaper. You ain't been paying attention.
No, I didn't hear that, but girl, you got me all scared now. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. I don't know if my friend should either. I think I'm gonna talk to her and let her know about this.
Yeah, we should. It's the new thing on college campuses. So we can find a part-time job together though.
All right. Yeah, looks like I need to start looking. Yeah, but I gotta go. I'll talk to you later, okay?
Okay, love you.
All right, love you too. Bye.
So we've seen two scenarios, two simulations, two scenes that deal with sugaring. These are young adults who are in positions where they are needing money. Basically, what they are being advised to do is access and register on websites. And once they register, then they're able to come in contact with older men and older women. So let's not get it twisted thinking that it's only men. There are women who are involved in sugaring with young men. What we want to say to all of you who are here tonight, that this is something that we definitely need to talk to our young people about. Sugaring can create problems. Of course, you have young people who talk about all the money that they make. all the things that they receive, all the places that they get to go. But the thing that you don't hear people talk about are all the issues that occur around the power struggle that happens when the sugar baby is not doing what the sugar mama or the sugar daddy is wanting to have done. You don't hear about the isolation. You don't hear about when they let their guards down and the different things that happen around being controlled. These are some of the issues that a lot of times you don't hear. Another factor involved in sugaring is the violence that occurs, especially when a person feels as if they've spent a lot of money on these young people and they want them to do things in return. And so our message is for all young people, whether high school or in college, to please be careful. Do not get involved in sugaring. That's just plain and simple our message. And so now we want to move on in our next scene and talk about online predators. And this is something that this evening, as I was preparing for this actual simulation, there was a news report on our local news about a Facebook situation happening where pornography was just popping up and people were having access to it. And now they're trying to figure out how to shut it down. Well, our next simulation deals with a minor. And a lot of times this is happening. You know, parents are working, kids are online. But what I want to say to you tonight, today, is that predators and traffickers are online and they're surfing the internet 24 hours a day, like we shop at Target and on Amazon. That's how they are shopping for our children. And we must be vigilant about what our children are doing. And we must take a look at phones and laptops and look at apps and games and just make sure that you're doing your part as a parent to keep the predator out of your house. Let's take a listen at our next simulation about online predators.
Mommy!
What is it? What is it?
So I promised I was being safe. I was sitting here playing my game, and this man started talking to me. See, and look.
Okay. Where is he now?
I'm not sure. He was there. He was there, and he was asking me all these weird questions.
What kind of questions?
Well, he was asking me how old I was, where I lived, and where I went to school. Even he told me I could be his special friend. It was super gross.
Well, this is not your fault. Don't log out. I took a training on this online, and there's a number that I can call to report this guy to the police.
No, Mommy, no. I will get arrested by the police.
No, honey. The police aren't going to do anything to you. We need to report this guy so he can't do this to anyone else. We don't know how many other kids he tricked into sending pictures. Hold on. Let me grab the number. I'd like to report a predator.
And so that's our message, is that if you see something, that you say something. We never know when we are protecting not only our own children, but other children within our circle of influence. Things are happening in our homes every day, and it behooves us to be aware. If you see something, please say something. And we are about to put up numbers now. If you see something, please say something, and you can do that by taking a picture of the numbers that you're about to see on the screen. If you come in contact with anything dealing with sexual exploitation, there's a number that you can call at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The next number is for the National Human Trafficking Hotline. if you have seen a victim of human trafficking or know about a victim of human trafficking, and you can make anonymous calls, and the information is in the center. And finally, around labor trafficking, which is something we didn't really talk about tonight, but that is also happening in our communities. But just in case you see something around labor trafficking, a child working in a restaurant that maybe seems too young, a child working too late at night, those are instances around labor trafficking that you would report. And these are the numbers and the information for the labor trafficking hotline. We invite you now to join us. So this is what I like to call classroom participation. And for those of you who have been in trainings with IHTI, you know that we talk about you being involved. And so we want to have you involved at this time. We're going to do something called What Would You Do? So we have a poll that we want you to participate in. And the questions are here for you. So our first question is, you are in an office working and you go into your coworker's office and notice him clicking through a child pornography website. So he has his headphones on and he doesn't see you, nor does he hear you. Our question is, do you, A, ease out of the office without him noticing? Do you, B, go to HR and make a report? Or C, make jokes about him in front of your coworkers? I hope you guys are thinking about this. Few more people can join us in this poll. Oh, I understand that you guys are working feverishly to get through these poll questions, and we appreciate your participation. We're going to go on to our next question on what would you do? So you are a guest at a hotel and you see a man manhandling a young girl roughly. Listen, what do? You watch as he slams her up against the wall. Do you keep walking and mind your own business? B, alert the staff of what you saw? Or C, do you immediately call the police yourself? So our next poll, you're getting your nails done and the nail technician seems a little timid, frightful, non-responsive to your questions. As you prepare to pay, she asks you quietly to help her because she is not being treated fairly by her employer. Do you A, pay your bill and ignore her? Or B, notify the labor trafficking hotline of the situation? Classroom participation. All righty, this is our last classroom participation right now. What would you do? You are uncomfortable. So these are our students because one of your teachers is making inappropriate sexual comments to you. Do you, A, ignore her because you need that class to graduate? B, report her to the principal? C, tell your friends about it and y'all just laugh it off. Or D, tell your parents and report it to the principal. Okay, let's launch those results and see what you all decided to do. So I understand that the majority of you got the first question correct. You're going to go to HR and you're going to make a report, because definitely in most businesses, there are rules and regulations around participating in child pornography that is against the law. That office will investigate and they'll take the proper procedures in order to handle that situation. So thank you for the answers for that question. So on our next poll, it seems like we had a mixture of answers around what you would do. Some of you thought that you should alert the staff. Others of you thought that you should call the police yourself. In some instances, it's best not to get involved unless you walk away and are safe in order to call the police, because you may cause more harm if that victim is, if the trafficker or that predator sees you making a telephone call. Our recommendation is you alert the staff to what you saw. And the reason why we use B as our answer is because in 2021, most hospitality staff have already been trained on how to handle human trafficking situations. So they are very well equipped. A lot of them have taken trainings. That's a part of them becoming employees at the hotel. So definitely be safe in making a report, but head to the front of the hotel and let someone know what you've seen. If you suspect human trafficking, once again, those numbers that we gave you earlier, that would be the number to call, and that's the number that they're going to call in order to make a report. So our next poll, we're moving on to. So with the nail technician and her asking for help, it's a little different when they don't ask for help, because in some situations you have employers of these salons that are actually operating their salon under something called debt bondage. And debt bondage is when that salon owner pays a trafficker to bring a person in. That person works there under debt bondage until they have paid off their debt. Oftentimes, people who are working under debt bondage, the only monies that they receive are the monies, if there's a tip and cash jar, that's the only money that they'll receive that day. So what we want you to do is to begin to, if someone ever approaches you and says that they're in trouble, to definitely call, if it's labor, definitely call the labor hotline and make a report. We have had investigators tell us the reason why a lot of things are not investigated, even though there are regulations around it, it's because the public does not say anything. So once again, we reiterate, if you see something, please say something. Our final poll. So the right answer for our last poll was to definitely tell your parents. Probably what is going to happen is your parent will go to the principal, and that is how the situation would be handled. I understand that that was someone who actually said to ignore the situation. There are a lot of young people who are in these predicaments now, who are oftentimes being bullied by their teachers. Please, young people, if someone is bothering you, sexually harassing you at school, first talk to your parents. Then the parent will take the proper steps to handle that situation. This is something that we definitely want you all to lean into because we know that these situations are occurring in our high schools. As a matter of fact, if this happens in any setting, even if you are being approached by a coach or someone in a situation of power and has influence over you, to definitely tell your parents. Please don't allow this to continue. And so we thank you so much for participating in our poll tonight. We appreciate that as well. We want to now, I want to personally thank Georgia Pacific and their staff for all of the work that they have done to make this such a wonderful experience for all of us. I want to thank the actors as well. And now we are going to be greeted by the executive director of the International Human Trafficking Institute. She is going to come, bid you greetings as well, and give you thanks.
Hello, everyone. I'm Deborah Richardson, the Executive Director of the International Human Trafficking Institute. Thank you very much for joining us for today's simulation. It's really important to us at the Institute to educate people on how trafficking occurs. It rarely is a situation where a child is kidnapped and thrown in the back of a white van. It is more often than not that the child, a young person, knows the person who's their exploiter. They could be a relative, a coach, a mentor, someone that they've come to trust, including, as you've seen in the simulation, someone that was a fellow student. So a young person can be doing what they're normally doing, everyday lives, going to school, on the phone, on the devices, not knowing that they could be being groomed to be exploited. We want to now thank those who made the simulation possible. Georgia Pacific Corporation has devoted a lot of their resources, the talent of their team to pull the simulation together. We could not have done it without their technical and professional expertise, and we thank them. We also want to thank Georgia State University, Office of Student Affairs, and the Magnolia chapter of Links Incorporated, who helped us to recruit the actors that you saw in our simulation. And these persons are in addition to the 6th District of the AME Church, the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Atlanta, Children Interfaith Movement, the Georgia PTA, Star Institute, Ebenezer Baptist Church, as well as Elizabeth Baptist Church. In addition, we received students who participated from the First Ladies International, as well as the Elite Scholars Academy. Thank everyone for your engagement and participation in this. So those of you that I'm talking with today, please, now that you know this, please share it. Please ask everyone in your network to go on to our website, humantraffickproofgeorgia.org, sign up for our trainings, programs, to receive our newsletters, and be an active participant in our quest to end human trafficking in our lifetime. We absolutely believe that we can create a world where not even one child is exploited for labor or sexual exploitation. Thank you.